And welcome to Did You Pack Snacks, a family travel podcast where we talk all things high, all the lows, and all the long miles in between of traveling with kids. My name's Colin, and this beautiful lady is...
My name's Meg.
Hi.
Hi.
Happily married.
That's right.
Even till this day.
Okay.
Today we're going to talk about 7 countries that is the best countries that we found in personal experience to travel with kids for various reasons, and we're gonna hit that list in this podcast. But before all that, the very important question: how are you, Megan?
You've got stuff in your teeth, so I just want to help you. I'm doing really well. I'm feeling a little sore, if I'm being honest.
Oh gosh.
Colin has a love-hate relationship with my gym membership. I don't know. I
only love it. It gets repetitive.
Okay, some friends and I are sharing a personal trainer at the gym, so it's just been a lot of fun.
Can we name him?
I don't know. Sure, his name's Brett. Look him up. So some friends and I are sharing a personal trainer at the gym, which if you've never done that, it just makes it a whole lot of fun. It also means that you're getting like a proper workout every time you go.
A real one.
A real one.
Right.
Somebody's making a plan for you.
I've done lots of fake ones.
So Colin's love-hate relationship is he loves that I'm going. He loves that I love it. But every time I come home, it's like just clockwork. He's going to hear about it. He's going to hear how awesome I am, how I lifted so much weight. Anytime there's a lull in the conversation, on the way to work, at home in the kitchen, soon as it gets quiet, oh man, today was a beast day. Today was just, man, babe, I can't sit. Babe, I can't. Okay.
I can't. Yeah.
Okay, I think they got it.
Yeah.
But I'm really loving that right now. It's one of my favorite things that I've added to my week. I like it a lot. What about you? How are you doing?
Well, today we're filming this on a Tuesday.
Okay.
And the reason why that's important because in 2 days, it's Thursday night pickleball.
Okay. See, you have your thing too. Well, explain to people what this Thursday night pickleball routine has become.
Well, I've only ever played maybe 7 or 8 times in my life.
Okay.
And by the first time, you're hooked. And I don't know if you play pickleball or not. It's the fastest growing sport in the U.S. And gosh, it is so much fun. I'm trying to get Megan, trying to get some more friends out there. But every Thursday night, a group of guys that I know around town, sometimes even strangers come. Sometimes there's a new guy and we're like, how did you find out about this pickleball night? And you go, oh, I met the dad this morning at story time at the library. And so it's
a very welcoming group of guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Newcomers, professionals, everyone's there.
Professionals.
Yeah. As professional as you can be in pickleball. But it's just fun. It's just every single week, it's just nice to have a standing, what do you call that?
Thing?
A standing thing.
Yeah.
Where when I go, my brain I get to turn off my brain for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And we play until the lights go out at 10:20. And 2 more days till pickleball.
A standing thing.
Yeah.
Everybody needs one.
Everybody needs one. I know Michael Bublé and his dad used to go to McDonald's every morning. And
how do you know this?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't like Michael? And look how he turned out,
you should tell everybody. I love your standing thing with our girls that you guys do every week. You have a standing thing.
We have Waffle Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which, of course, we visit our local Waffle House that's a mile away from our house. We stopped going to Waffle House, though, because it didn't meet sanitary requirements, let's just say. They had an invasion of flies.
Yeah, I would say you need to specify. It's not that the place wasn't clean.
No.
Their flies were a little out of hand.
I think summer came and the flies thought, it's their season to come out.
Yeah.
So we've transitioned to another local place called Eggs Up, which do a great job. They come out with a Mickey pancake. And it can actually be cheaper than Waffle House sometimes.
Well, there you have it. You heard it here first.
Yeah, but the girls have been begging to go back to Waffle House again. And so we'll see. We're gonna give it a try.
We'll
but they look
forward to it all week, every day. What day of the week is it today? How many days until Wednesday? It's
Yep.
so cute.
So maybe the next week's podcast, you can ask me if the Waffle House has flies or not. We'll give an
Okay.
update because everybody wants to know.
I'm sure they want to know. They're like, why aren't you writing the manager? Because Colin's too nice. That's why. Okay, so we're going to take a minute. I wanted to do another segment.
A minute or 5, maybe?
You know how I love a good segment.
Yep.
This one is we're just going to share our top 5 things that we're loving that have to do in some way with travel. So that's pretty broad. But yeah, we came up with 5 things that we want to share.
So not my bath soap.
No.
Okay, because I have some good bath soap recommendations.
That's for your other podcast.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, let's get started. Why don't you go first? What's one thing that you're loving in the world of travel right now?
Before I go into that, our room kind of smells like popcorn.
Burnt popcorn.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
Let me
Oh.
check. Okay, she didn't burn popcorn.
Oh, she didn't. It smelled like it.
Well, she did. She wanted more popcorn that was warm, so she reheated it in the Tupperware.
Oh.
And that's when it got crazy.
Oh, that was so nice. Like a nice gesture.
Yeah.
Okay. So top 5
Top
things
5.
that we're loving in the world of travel. Kick us off.
First things first, I get emails from them every day.
Okay.
Even today, even 30 minutes ago,
Not
I
your
asked
mom.
you. What?
It's not your mom.
No, it's not my mom. No, she WhatsApps me. But going, formerly known as Scott's Cheap Flights, is how we get all our flight deals. Mm-hmm. I put in all the airports that I like, but I also put in like New York, Chicago, and Dallas. Even though they're far away, they usually get more deals than Atlanta, Charlotte, all that kind of stuff. But even 30 minutes ago, I got a deal for $200 from Atlanta to Banff National Park.
Which is something we're talking about later, specifically Banff. So maybe
Right.
we'll inspire you to book that ticket.
Ooh. But yeah, like every now and then I'll ask Megan, hey, do you want to go to Switzerland? $400. Out of New York though. No. But like that's a
Daily conversation.
just like our gym conversations.
Yeah.
But this is more fun.
And the cool thing about going is we can leave their link in the show notes. But you can subscribe and get a membership that's costs nothing. And then they have a premium membership that's more exclusive deals that you have to pay for. But you can just get on that free membership and get some of these deals. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people always, when I recommend this to people, I'm like, do you fly somewhere at least once or twice a year? And their answer is yes. Then I'm like, then this pays for itself.
The premium membership would.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going.
I love it. Okay, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was because we just did a road trip with our girls to the beach, and people are always asking me, like, how do you keep your kids entertained on a flight in the car? And well, one of the things, just a disclaimer, is we let our kids watch shows on long plane rides and long car rides because I want to watch a movie to pass time. They want to watch a movie to pass time. We're just down with it. It just helps make a long travel day a little bit easier. But a non-screen time option that I'm really loving is this company called Yodo. And they have a little mini player that basically is the modern version of like a Walkman.
Yeah.
And it comes with these little cards, and the cards have various stories. Some of them have songs.
Kids Bop Kids.
They
Shout
have
out.
Kids Bop Kids. Charlotte really likes those ones.
Yeah.
But they're all very kid-friendly, age-appropriate. They have like from preschool age up until like 2nd or 3rd grade. And maybe even beyond that. I didn't really pay attention. But either way, look up Yodo. I think it's Yodo Play. We'll leave the link again. But it is such a great tool to have with you for some non-screen time entertainment for the kiddos.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
I like it too. I mean, there's not much difference. If you have a classic iPod or something and
That's
it still
true.
works. Like,
Actually, a friend of mine did ask me. She said, okay, so I have like an old school iPod. What's the difference? And I said, honestly, not that
difference.
much.
yeah, this one's pink and it's cute.
And maybe a little bit more user-friendly for a kid because there are less buttons and you literally just stick the card in.
Oh, yeah, true.
But yeah, maybe not much different than an old school iPod, but still something worth looking into.
Yeah, and it works with more recent charging cables.
True.
It's more updated.
It's a little more
Maybe
updated.
Apple should do that instead of their goggles thing that they just came out with.
I mean, those look cool. Scary.
Scary.
A little bit scary. Okay, what's another one?
a travel show is another one. It's called The Reluctant Traveler. It's on Apple TV with Eugene Levy.
It's so funny.
Which, if you love Schitt's Creek, and I don't know if this is his personality in real life or not.
It seems like it might be.
But that character is kind of like in this show as well.
Yeah.
Even though he's playing himself. And
we also watch Somebody Feeds Phil, which that is a really popular travel show. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. But this one is it's totally different vibes. But I feel like if you like Somebody Feeds Phil, you would enjoy this too.
Right. And even more so because Phil just does a lot of food because it's a food show. But Eugene, the premise of the show is like he does not want to travel. Mm-hmm. You know, and so in the show he goes to like the most luxurious hotels, and that he's totally okay with. So you'll see like the nicest hotel in Tokyo, the most beautiful resort in the Maldives, or like the crazy one in the safari in South Africa.
Oh, the train,
or somewhere in Africa.
That was cool.
But he stays in the nicest places, which is already fun to look at. But then he said, you know, as part of the show, I do agree to leave my hotel room. And so he goes and meets people, tries new things. And I actually appreciate it a lot because it shows him coming out of his shell. Remember the Maldives episode? It was the only episode that I was like, wasn't too keen about watching. But then because it was like,
what are you going to do on
what's
the beach?
Interesting about Maldives?
Other than its beauty, Colin.
Right. But that was the episode I thought that he came out most from his shell because he went and met local people from Maldives and it changed his whole idea of happiness, success, all that. So I think it's a neat show.
That's true. I like it too. You should definitely give it a try.
Thanks, Eugene.
Another thing that I'm loving, this is for all my ladies out there. My favorite thing to wear on a travel day. I feel like I've had really bad luck with travel days because I'm like...
You always choose the wrong outfits until now.
I always just feel like, why did I wear this? You know, I'm maybe thinking that I want to dress up. Maybe I want to wear pajamas. Anyway, cut to the chase. I got that trending Free People hotshot onesie and I love it. It is like the perfect thing to wear on the airplane. It's not too tight. It feels like pajamas, but you still look cute in case you... just feel better. I just feel better.
You should have worn that today.
I know, that would have been so appropriate.
Yeah.
But I just felt like sharing because it really is, it's an investment. Maybe you could find a dupe on Amazon and that would work just as well. But I really like it. And it's like my staple right now if we're getting on an airplane for a long time.
Or
that's
road
what I'm going to wear.
trip.
Or that's true. I wore it the other day on a road trip. So yeah.
You wore it to Buc-ee's.
I love that thing. Okay, so last thing. We have one more. We need 5. What do you got for the people?
Before we get to our countries, my last thing, which is I think it's a more me thing.
Yeah.
Because I always get flack for it. But I love lounge access at the airports. Just like you going to the gym with Brett, let me talk about my lounges real quick. There's something like... I mean, this is a new thing in our life. Like, we haven't had lounge access until maybe about a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Why has that changed? Tell
because
them.
I got credit cards.
Yeah.
And that's how really we get a lot of free travel through it by earning points and miles. But some of my cards also allow for a lounge access. So like the Capital One Venture card. We haven't been to the Capital One lounge yet. There's only one so far in Dallas, which is why I really want to go to Texas for a weird reason. But the Capital One also lets you in Priority Pass lounges, which is a network of lounges all over the world. And we've been to a lot of them, haven't we?
We have. And the reason why I say that with like a little bit of jest is because travel days are already so stressful. I feel like we should do an episode on just like the real behind getting kids to the airport, navigating the airport, getting everyone fed, getting snacks, getting on the plane, getting situated on the plane, keeping everyone chill on the plane. It's a whole thing.
It's a marathon.
It's a literal marathon. And so I have the feelings toward I have the feelings towards the lounges because we'll get through security. I feel like I'm sweating because we always have a million carry-ons.
That's the hardest part. We average 9 bins at TSA.
Yeah, on average, on a good day.
Yeah.
And then when we get through, it's like Colin's immediately like, okay, we're at gate 2. Great, the lounge is at gate 113. And we just have to like...
She's not exaggerating.
It's like always so far. Anyway, sometimes they're worth it. And maybe we should deep dive lounges and airports and travel days sometime. Right. But I know why you love them because they feel like a little luxurious.
Right. Especially the ones overseas. The American ones I can't really speak for unless it's like the Centurion or whatever. But then they're usually filled with like really snooty people.
Yeah. That are like looking at you like, please don't sit next to me because you have children.
Why is there a crowd here? Oh my gosh. But no, there's something about seeing a busy airport and knowing that I have like, this is a nice semi-quiet room that's clean.
Yeah, like you're a part of a club.
Yeah.
And I special things.
And I stock up. Yeah. Like the girls get like buffets and once
we always take a few drinks to go.
Right. And then kids drinks. Yeah. Like apple juices. Okay, people.
Yeah. Well, you can't walk out with alcohol, but
right. But as soon as I get my free latte, I'm like, okay.
It was worth the 100 million steps it took to get here.
Anyways.
Most of the time.
We like lounges. Okay. All right. 7 countries that we found that are great for families. You ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1.
And this is, I will say, this isn't an exclusive list. There are a lot of countries that aren't on this list that would make a great family destination, but we just wanted to highlight 7 of them.
Yeah. And you know what? Truth be told, before we finalized this list,
I
went on ChatGPT. Okay. It gave me, I said, give me 10 countries. And
all of these were on the list.
No, no. Half of them were on the list. So me and AI are like...
Same brain.
Yeah, you got me, the human, or us, the humans, and AI together present to you this list.
Okay, cool.
So number 1.
Number 1 is...
Someone say it together?
No.
Okay. Really?
No, I don't.
Come on, more fun that way. Okay, number 1
is...
Denmark.
See how I just moved my
whatever. Mouth? We went to Denmark last Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Because we wanted to experience Christmas markets. It starts at Thanksgiving because we still wanted to be home for Christmas.
Yeah, because I love Christmas.
So we went there and oh my gosh. First of all, everything is efficient.
And really clean.
Really clean.
So clean.
People were nice to our kids.
Yeah.
And really, in that first day, you can kind of tell how the locals interact with our kids. I wouldn't, throw out a blanket statement, but if they are kind to kids, it kind of sets the tone of the trip. No.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the culture there is very family oriented. And we kind of knew that going in. And the other part that made Denmark so awesome was in Copenhagen, they have the massive amusement park of Tivoli. Let me say that right.
Tivoli, yeah.
They have a theme park called Tivoli. And it was basically what Walt Disney himself kind of was inspired to make the Disney parks after visiting this one. And we also had seen that. We were like, man, it would be so fun to take the kids there. But we decided to go to Denmark during that time of year intentionally for Tivoli, for the Christmas markets. And we just thought that it would be a charming time to go. And it really was.
Right. Everywhere we went, there were great kid food options. It's a bikeable city. It's a walking city. We did so much. Well, Europe in general. But I want to just highlight that one of those nights when we ate out in Copenhagen.
Oh yeah.
And everyone, it wasn't a kid-friendly restaurant.
No,
it was like beautiful dim lights. People were... Well, I think everyone just dresses really nice in Copenhagen.
Yeah. Well, it felt fancy, but you're right. It was probably just a normal people.
Right.
I mean...
A normal people.
It was probably just a normal restaurant, but people just dress nicer than we're used to.
Yeah. But we went in. I felt a little bit underdressed. I was wearing a hoodie. But as soon as we went in, everyone just was so kind.
Yeah.
Our waiter was like, hey, if you guys eat all your food, I have a magic trick. And he was like, and when the kids did eat all their food, he revealed, I saw him like slid something under the napkin, but nobody knew, and I didn't bother to check. But then after the meal, he like opened the napkin, and there was 2 chocolates in there.
It was so cute.
And it had been there the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, and they're quick to just help families, even in airports. You know, deboarding and boarding a plane. You know, they're always kind.
It was a great experience.
Yeah,
I loved
Denmark. And we need to probably explore Denmark a lot more.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of, if your capital city has that vibe, I would assume even in your countrysides, it would be the same.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And if you like Legos, they're there too.
Okay, number 2, we're gonna take it to Mexico.
Okay.
And you know, maybe this one could be a little like controversial, but this is why I would add it to the list.
Okay.
Because if you're looking for a beach vacation and you are in the States, really anywhere in the States, you can get an affordable flight to Mexico for a great price. Then once you're there, you've got street food, you've got culture, you've got tacos. And there are some places, you know, maybe like Tulum, that are very crowded, lots of people, and maybe not the best vibe to go with kids. But there are a lot.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't our favorite with kids. It's definitely geared towards like people that are there to have a good time, young adults. But there were a lot of other places that we went to that were so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're planning a beach vacation, you could even just pick a resort in Mexico. You still get the views and the food if you want kind of like a stress-free, laid-back option. But yeah, we did a road trip. We ended up in like all different parts of the Yucatan.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, wow, this is literally a 3-hour flight from where we live, rich in culture, crazy kind people. And I just felt really thankful that we got to see some of it.
Yeah. It felt, even though we were close, it felt like a really big adventure.
Yeah.
Because everything's in Spanish, and you don't speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I took 2 classes in college, and there's something about navigating it in Spanish. A lot of them speak English, of course, but I just think it's cool when our kids see us communicating with broken Spanish, that they see parents that are trying, but can still, you know, buy the souvenir or order the food or get somewhere. I think that's neat for the kids to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to what you said, like a lot of the places are like party hub spots, but some of the places that we went to, for instance, by the way, we flew into Cancun, so we're talking mostly about the Yucatan Peninsula. We still have yet to make it out to Mexico City, Oaxaca, Puerto Vallarta, which
Or
is
like Baja.
or Baja, and seems like everyone on Instagram at least
Loves it there.
are having a great time.
Yeah.
We had a great time too in the Yucatan, and we went to towns like Bacalar. We did a road trip to Valladolid, and then we saw Chichen Itza, and it was just like a chill vibe that always ended at a beach, and
Right.
it involved tacos. Charlotte learned how to love tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. And I think one of the other perks about going to Mexico, the affordable flight, you can maybe splurge on like a resort, and then you can just do like day trips. It's so geared towards tourists. You
Yeah.
really don't have to invest a lot of energy in being like, what will I do once I get there? There are a lot of things to do,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah. So if you like swimming in cenotes, beaches, and tacos, Mexico's the place to go.
All right, moving on to number 3. We're going to take you down under.
Down under.
Yeah, one of my bucket list places to go, honestly, that when we landed there, it felt a little surreal.
Yeah.
We're
Do you wanna set the scene of how we ended up there?
Well, we haven't even told people where. It's
Idaho.
No, it's Australia.
Oh, okay. Australia.
Okay, so number 3 is Australia. And what is the scene? I don't think I remember.
We went there in the middle of a weird time in the world 2 years ago.
Yeah. We were one of the first like wave of tourists that were allowed in the country. Like we booked plane tickets there within 2 weeks of them opening the borders.
Right. And we got there just in time for your birthday.
Yeah.
And for your birthday, we were in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And we drove to a sanctuary, and you got to hug and pet a koala.
It was so cool.
That fun fact, 2 years later, Michelle Obama posts a picture at the same sanctuary.
Hugging the same koala. I mean,
I don't know if it was the same.
I'm sure
it could
was
have been
the same. If I'm not 2 degrees separated from her by this koala.
Yeah. If it was Victor the koala. Hey, Michelle Obama, if you hugged Victor the koala, let us know.
Leave a comment down below and let me know. But yeah, lots of wildlife. Koalas, the girls got to found a bunch of kangaroos around our neighborhood. They got to pet wallabies at this zoo. And then one thing I didn't really think about in Australia that is a little bit of a challenge is it's really big. Yes. So we didn't get to see a lot of the country. We spent a few days in Sydney. We had our base in Melbourne, so we got to see a lot of Melbourne. We had friends there that kind of showed us around. And then we did do a 1-week trip where we took an RV around Tasmania, and then we did the Great Ocean Road in a little van. Yeah. So that's kind of what we saw. But the things that I love about it were the wildlife. Yeah. I thought that it was crazy family friendly. It's really easy to navigate because it's, we're all speaking the same language. You can read signs. But there was a lot of natural beauty. It just felt like, I don't know. I think it lived up to my expectations. When you have a place on your list and you wonder if you get there, if you're going to be disappointed. I wasn't.
Yeah. And I went into it as a big fan of Bluey. Still am a fan of Bluey. And I just assume every dad there was Bandit. Yeah. And that once I got to Australia, that I can also become Bandit.
Right.
And so that was a little boost to all right, I'm going to step up.
Wait, didn't we meet that guy the night that we saw all the penguins? Wasn't he from the town where Bluey's filmed? Do you remember?
Kind of.
Oh, he wasn't?
Yeah, I think he was near there.
Okay. I just remember that being a talking point, wait, you live...
Okay, we need to tell the penguin story.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Then we got to circle back to why this is great for families to go. We were at this, what would you call it? A visitor center that was essentially built to highlight these little penguins that come in from the ocean every night by the droves, and they kind of nestle on the hillside.
By the droves, thousands of them. Yeah.
And so this happened so regularly that they built this visitor center so that you could learn about the penguins. Anyway, we get tickets, you have to wait until dusk, and they are very adamant, you can't really you can't take photos, you can't take videos, you can't eat food because you don't want to disturb the penguins from doing the thing that they're naturally going to do.
It's quiet, it's dark and cold.
It was cold.
Yeah.
And so our girls are wanting to eat something.
And of course, we are professional snack packers.
Yeah, we had snacks. And we were like, you know what? It's okay. Just eat this apple. Be quiet. Just eat the apple.
Yeah, I pull out an apple from my pocket.
Yeah. But that was against the rules. They weren't supposed to eat, but it was we didn't want to miss the penguins. So we were like, just eat this really quietly,
This was close to 8 o'clock at night.
It was late. They were hungry and tired.
Yeah.
So anyway, gave her the apple. And all of a sudden, a few minutes later, after a couple bites, we see this apple leave her hands and go down into the path of the penguins.
Megan, you're forgetting a huge detail.
Oh, no.
The penguins had been arriving.
Yes.
Everyone's oohing and eyeing.
Yes.
Our girl is innocently eating an apple, and you knocked it down.
Oh, yeah. It was my fault. I forgot. I knew that the apple flew. That's true. I remember turning, and I think my elbow knocked it out of her hands. Yeah. Yeah. But then it went down. It landed right in front of the penguins. Everyone audibly gasped. And then I made Colin go ask the volunteer, what do we do? Because we didn't know what to do. She goes, I don't think...
She panicked.
She panicked for a second.
Yeah.
And then she said, I don't think they like apples, so I don't think that they're going to interact with it. We're just going to leave it. So now in the view, the beautiful view of the penguins coming to shore is a half-eaten apple, courtesy of the Mookries and my elbow that was there. Man. It was we were just making our mark.
Making our mark.
Yeah. But
Yep.
back to Australia.
Back to Australia though, like you already mentioned it. Great food, great friendly people.
Yeah.
And big roads. We even took, if a country is good for RVing, it's
Yeah.
good for kids.
Yeah.
Again, great stops. Every single, even gas stations in the middle of nowhere will have espresso machines. So coffee culture is strong.
Yeah.
Like one time we were driving somewhere and I went in and I was like, in America, this would be really rough. But then it looked rough. Everyone came in, was big Australian dudes that were all farmers. They
Yeah.
walked up to the espresso machine and go, I'll take a flat white. And I was like, wow, this is not what I expect you to be saying. But yeah, coffee culture is strong. And I also love diversity.
It was
Like
really
people
diverse.
from everywhere were there. And when I say people from everywhere, I mean even people with my home. Like I'm from Malaysia. And the way we speak Chinese or the way we speak English is slightly different. And as soon as you hear it, you can tell. And my homies were there too.
Yeah, I mean, we were in two very major cities.
Right.
So that would have something to do with it. But overall, in general, keep Australia on your bucket list.
Yep.
We loved it so much.
I know it's a little far,
It's kind of far.
but once you get there, spend some time there, you're going to love it.
Okay, moving on to country number 4, we're going to go with,
Thailand.
we love Thailand.
Love Thailand. I've been there twice now.
Yeah, me a few more times than you.
Okay,
Well,
Megan.
just before we were married, I got to go a few times.
Okay.
Anyway, but specifically, we're talking about Bangkok.
Yep.
We've also been up north
Chiang Mai,
and down south.
Krabi.
Thanks for finishing my sentences. And so, yeah, the reasons that I would say that it's great for kids, if you're looking to go to somewhere in Southeast Asia,
Yeah, exotic.
I think that Bangkok is great for a couple reasons. One, they have a great healthcare system. Ask me how I know, because we've had to utilize that before when Shar was a baby.
Majorly.
Majorly. But I will say it's like a huge peace of mind that if you're traveling with kids and you're nervous about something like that maybe happening to your kids, and that's part of your apprehension about going across the world,
Yep.
go to Bangkok, because you're going to have next level care should anything happen. I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's just a little peace of mind.
Yeah.
And then I would also say, because it's such an internationally diverse city, it's just accessible. I felt like it was easy to get around.
Yeah.
There were so many things for the kids to do because it's so hot.
And the culture there is so friendly. It's called the land of smiles.
Mm-hmm.
And so every local there that we meet, they're always welcoming. They're always glad you're there because tourism is a huge part of their economy.
Mm-hmm.
Food, I don't have to say anything about food.
Don't even go there because everyone knows it's really great.
Right. Even the food at 7-Eleven is fun and exciting.
And I think the cool thing about Thailand is you get the big city experience. Go spend a few days in Bangkok, go on a food tour, go to the malls, bring your kids, just do all the things.
Love the malls.
And then you can get a really affordable flight up north, like Colin said, or down south to the beaches, just depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And both of those experiences were incredible too. I loved getting to see a different part of the country and experience a different part of the Thai culture that was less busy. But across the board, people welcomed our kids wherever we went.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of fun. It was one of their favorite places, I think, that we visited.
Absolutely. Okay, number 5 on the list is a little country called Costa Rica.
I loved it there.
A haven in Central America. Everyone talks great things about it. So we finally decided to go. We went last year and I saw what the hype was.
Yeah, they've got, we saw turtles.
Saw turtles
Baby
hatching.
turtles hatching. We saw a sloth, a mom sloth, mommy sloth.
Mom sloth. Sloth mom.
Sloth mom.
Yeah.
She had a baby. What else did we do? We went to the mountains.
We went to the mountains. We were surrounded by wild hummingbirds. We saw these animals. I was at our hotel in the pool, and all of a sudden I look up in the tree, and there were a ton of coatis, I think that's what I'm called.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And there were 10 of them just playing in the trees above us. So it's like a nature lover's paradise. There's volcanoes. There's hot springs.
beaches. Charlotte learned to surf when we got down there. One of our favorite things to do is either Google a class or do an Airbnb experience. Maybe on Viator, you can look for a tour. And so we found a surfing class for kids.
Yeah.
We signed Charlotte up because she's always wanted to surf.
It was like a day camp.
It was a day camp. So we dropped her off and we just like hung out, 20 yards down the beach. But she learned to surf and she still talks about it. It was so much fun.
And it's a great place to learn, even for adults too, because the water is warm. You get a constant amount of good waves. And especially where we were in Nosara, which is on the western side, which a lot of people go upper west to where all the resorts are, which is also great surfing. But yeah, the surf has like, the way the instructor described it to me is that there are beginner waves and intermediate waves all along the coast. And so it's just like a surfer's paradise.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to learn how to surf in the future. I didn't that time.
No.
But I really wanted to.
I think it'll be so much fun. But yeah, Costa Rica was a lot of fun. I get the hype and I'm really glad that we went. I think that if you're wanting to plan a family vacation, then find a nice resort, find a nice hotel, and then let them coordinate your day trips to all the beautiful things or do a wildlife tour. And you don't have to navigate it on your own. So
I will do a vibe check though with Costa Rica. It was that when I got there, a lot of the places where we saw animals and all these nature spots, you don't see high rises. You don't see buildings, condos. Like there's nowhere that's like overcrowded with tourists. And I think they know that about Costa Rica and they want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of the expats that we met that have chosen to live there are all people that, live in LA half of the year. And when they say they want to unplug and reset, they go to Costa Rica.
Right.
So it's the complete opposite. So I would just say when you go there and you want to experience this adventure where you're like away from it all, Costa Rica sounds amazing.
Yeah. It was special. All right. What's next on the list?
Next up is a country that's very near and dear to me.
Okay. Malaysia.
No. It's our far more superior neighbors, Singapore.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, Singapore is so much fun.
The elephant in the room between Malaysia and Singapore is there's this cold rivalry, okay? In the 50s, Singapore was part of Malaysia, and then about a few years later, 1963 to be exact, September 16, they said, we're fine.
Without you.
We're fine, Malaysia. We don't have a fresh water source. We're going to figure it out. And they did. And so everyone in Malaysia, the running joke is that Singapore is 40 years ahead of us. We can never beat Singapore's football team, soccer team. We can't be as smart as them, modern as them. Their currency is so much more valuable. But I will say we have the leg up on when it comes to food and culture.
Okay.
Okay?
But we put them on the list for a reason.
I'm done bashing Singapore. I love it. Because when I was 12, we went on our first big family vacation. I live in a very small town. And so we got a passport. We got on a sleeper bus and we went from Kuala Lumpur down to Singapore. We got a hotel there and we just walked and walked and walked. And it was near Christmas time. And so the whole city was decorated. They do decorations really well. But yeah, it's just a place that I remember being a good place.
Okay, you want to know why I love it?
Why?
Well, first you land and you walk into the best airport that I've ever experienced.
I think it's the best airport in the world.
I think it is. Or it should be classified as that because they've got what they call the Jewel, which is this beautiful waterfall feature that's massive in the middle of the airport, surrounded by like trees. Like real, like huge trees.
Trees and trains.
And the garden. And
Shake Shack and movie theaters.
And I mean, it's a mall that surrounds this waterfall.
A Pokemon store.
There's a hotel in there. There's everything.
Right.
I mean, it was incredible. And I think that just kind of set the tone for our short time there.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get to this city and it's just clean
immaculate.
And organized. And I was just like, I don't know, sometimes you can get to a city and they feel a little bit like rugged.
Yeah.
That was not my experience in Singapore. And it also helped that we have some friends there. And so they were kind of our tour guides for the day.
Yeah.
And they took us to get food. Do you remember what we ate?
Well, we went to a food court. So like in Asia or in Malaysia, you know, Thailand, Singapore, where you go, which food court is the best? Like that's the debate. And so we went to probably one of the more like original, more famous food courts. But we had chicken rice. And these are Michelin star dishes for like $3.
It was incredible.
Okay, maybe $5, but still cheap. We had all kinds of noodle dishes, rice dishes. You can have Indian food, Chinese food, all these different types of food. It's all there.
Okay, but one thing that we did for the kids that was really awesome is we took them to the zoo. I think that there's different like parts of the zoo, and we went to one that was called like the River Safari or River Cruise or something. Anyway, we saw a panda, and we saw a baby panda.
Yes.
Which was so cool. And I don't know, that whole day, the girls loved it. We even bought them, like, I get so sentimental about moments like that, seeing their first panda.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was our first panda.
I know, I bought them a souvenir, remember? I'm
the
such
panda slap bracelets?
Yeah. I'm just such a sucker for like marking something with a little trinket.
Yeah. Then we also had panda bows.
Oh yeah.
For lunch, and yeah, it was just fun.
It was fun. And then we were actually there over a holiday. And so there was a big festival that we got to. Really, I'm just telling you that Singapore would be such a great place to visit as a family. Lots of culture, great food. We loved it.
Right.
Stay in the airport your whole time and you'll still love it.
Right. There's also Universal Studios in Singapore. There's Sentosa Island. So like theme parks are there. Malls are there. Food is there. It's clean. It's easy to get around. You'll just feel safe the whole time too. And people are kind.
2 thumbs up.
10 thumbs up if I had 10.
Cool, Colin. All right, our last one. This is number 7. Number 7, we're going to take it to Canada. And Canada's big.
Canada's big. We haven't explored a lot of it.
We haven't.
We might this year.
Yeah, I know. We'd like to.
Yeah.
But we're specifically talking about Alberta, and even more specifically, like Banff National Park.
And we've been there twice. We went there without kids, loved it. And then we said, we want to come back with our kids, and 7 years later we did. And we first saw it online, remember? Like when we were dating, or maybe we were already married. We were like, Meg, look at this
place,
this lake. Look at that water from this lake.
Right.
And we always knew, okay, Lake Louise, like one day we'll get there. And I think in one of our, I don't know if we said this before in previous podcasts, but one time, like we like to find cheap flights and go camping. And so this was one of our camping ideas. You ready for this? This is not to do. Fly into Seattle, drive 10 hours, maybe more, and then go to Canada and go camp there. Sounds easy. No, it doesn't sound easy.
No,
it sounds hard.
I know, it sounds hard, but we had no kids. We had all the time in the world.
And in reality, it sounds even harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last thing you want to do after driving 14 hours is to pitch a tent.
And as we're like arriving to our destination, it's pouring rain. And I start crying, not going to lie. I had a rough travel day. I shed some tears. I was like, how are we even going to set up this tent in the dark, in the rain? And Colin decided that he was going to march in to
the Fairmont Chateau,
which overlooks Lake Louise.
Yeah.
And he was going to march in and ask them how much it was for a room. Could they give us a discount? Because his wife was crying.
We had been driving all day and it was storming. And I had a grin on my face. I'm like, I'm going to get this hotel for a lot cheaper. And as soon as I walk in, the lady at the front desk goes, it starts at $600. And I said, oh, that's not too bad. I turned around, walked out of the hotel, and never came back.
But I will say, it stopped raining.
Yeah.
We pitched the tent. Everything was fine. We had a great experience. And the reason that we wanted to bring our kids back was because it's one of those places where there's a million things to do outside.
Yes.
You can canoe, you can hike, you could kayak, you can
horseback ride.
horseback riding. You can walk on a glacier. It has the most charming downtown.
Yes.
Like that I've ever been to, with like mountains in the background. Like it just, if you love to be outside with your kids, you will absolutely love it there. And there will be no shortage of things for you to do.
Right. And when it comes to beauty, like the Canadian Rockies is just, I feel like it's underestimated.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
We have Rockies too in the US, and it is beautiful. But once you get to the Canadian Rockies, even driving on the highway, even when you look to your left and your right, those rivers are glacial blue. Like you know that you're really up north.
Right.
And so the water is beautiful. The mountains are just rugged and jagged, and
just Google Lake Louise or Lake Moraine.
Yeah.
And you're going to be convinced that you need to take a trip there. It's that great.
It's a great RV trip. Fly into Calgary, get your RV, which is what we did. And we just drove around. Great campgrounds, great food.
Yeah, I think it's a great location for any price point. You know, you could camp there if that's your thing. There are luxury cabins available if that's your thing.
Yeah.
Like, it fits for everyone. Yeah. Everyone can find somewhere to stay and a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
In Banff.
Megan, that was a good list.
Wow. Look at us go.
Look at us go. So those are your 7 top destinations to travel with kids. You can find all these places and our experiences on our YouTube channel if you'd like. But I hope that this podcast kind of sold you on all these places because they are great.
They are great. And if you enjoyed listening to us chat, if you like tuning in, we'd love for you to leave a review and subscribe to the podcast because we have a lot more to share when it comes to all things travel.
Sounds good. I hope you have a good day, Meg.
You too.
And moms and dads, don't forget to pack snacks.